Welcome back. Please join me in welcoming a very handsome young man who has won a bunch of money, a millionaire, if you will, on Jeopardy, Mr. Brad Rutter. Hey, you.
Hey, Patty.
How are you?
Mwah, wonderful.
Thank you for joining us.
No problem. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you, thank you. Hey, so you certainly have been a whiz kid all your life, I understand.
Well, that's what people tell me, I guess.
Right. So were you always inquisitive when you were a child, always wanting to play games and ask a ton of questions?
Absolutely. I think that's really the key to my success on the show, was that I was always interested in accumulating information really any way I could get it. So my parents bought me, little Charlie Brown encyclopedias when I was 3 or 4 years old, and that's sort of how I got started with the whole quiz thing.
That's great. So you always like to play games?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember that little memory game?
Oh, yeah. I used to play that all the time, actually.
I bet you did. I bet a lot of you know that in the studio audience. You remember that game.
And I actually forgot about it, ironically, until just now. But I used to play memory all the time.
I could have asked him a question. Oh, darn it, darn it. What's the little game with the cards? Now, our daughter used to, she's 21 now, she used to play us in memory. And a little squirt would beat us at 4 and 5 years old. I'll tell you how intimidating is that, for this little thing to beat you. How does one train to be an academic athlete?
Well, I can only speak to Jeopardy, really.
Yeah.
And I have been watching the show since I was about 6 years old when the Alex Trebek version came back on in '84, I think it was. And that's really the best way, if you want to get on Jeopardy, that's the best way to prepare, is just watch the show every night, because you'll get a really good feel for the categories that come up a lot and the kind of things that you need to know, and some things aren't so important. So Shakespeare comes up all the time, presidents come up all the time, geography comes up all the time. And if you just watch the show, you really learn what they're looking for.
And you study. And you studied history, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I was an English major, histree minor in college, and they say that's probably the best combination to do.
I would imagine.
One of those two.
I would imagine. And you won $3 million.
3.2 million in change, yeah.
3.2 in change. What's the first thing you did with your money?
Well, the only crazy thing I really did was I bought a Porsche. That's the... Really,
I think you deserve it. Why not?
I had to do something for myself.
Of course you did.
But the rest is just invested in working for me.
That's fantastic. Now, were you intimidated at first by Ken Jennings, or did you say, hey, I think I can beat him?
Well, the whole time, and I have to credit my friends for this, the whole time Ken was on, I thought, wow, this guy's getting all this attention. I think I could probably beat this guy.
Do that.
And it's like, wow, they had to change the rules now before I got a chance to be on 75 times in a row. But it actually ended up working out for the best, because Ken really brought a lot of attention to Jeopardy.
Absolutely,
and that's what enabled the Ultimate Tournament of Champions, was they wanted to get him back on.
Absolutely.
So I ended up getting my shot at it.
It's great. Now, we have a clip of this. Can we pull that up? Mr. Macco and Kevin, can we pull this wonderful clip?
Brad Rutter, who are Carpenter and Cooper.
And I'll say, go Ken and go Jerome.
Go Ken and go Jerome. It was a great match. You didn't have to risk anything. You didn't. 23,600 added to your 38,000, 62,000 your total. That gets bumped up to $2 million. Congratulations.
Nice playing,
Brad Rutter. Now the biggest quiz or game show money winner in television history. And Ken is still up there, too. He's the number 2. Way to go.
Thanks.
That's wonderful. Isn't that fun?
Thanks.
That is really great. And what have you been doing with yourself since?
Well, I had my own TV show back in Pennsylvania, where I'm from, called Inquisitive.
Do you still have it?
I don't anymore, because I'm now living in L.A., and I have representation, and I'm looking to do something nationally.
Good for you. Good for you. What are the concepts?
Well, I'd love to do a national version of Inquisitive. That would be fun. But I think where my talents lie more is in something for the History or Discovery Channel, something like that. They're always looking for hosts to introduce a history show or a science show. So that's what
you certainly have the energy and the enthusiasm, and you have the pronunciation and enunciation.
Well, thank you.
You do. It's perfect at that. We were talking about that earlier. And now, inquisitive. That's I admire that, because you went back to the kids, didn't you?
Yes, and that's how I got my start. If you remember the old GE College Bowl, it was sort of that concept, but for high school kids. So they have tournaments and stuff like that for teams, and high schools have quiz bowl teams. And that's where I got started answering questions competitively. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to have my own show help those kids get on TV a little bit, and maybe, who knows, maybe the next big Jeopardy champion will be from Central
Isn't
PA.
that wonderful? Isn't that great?
Show.
That's wonderful. And then you're also very community-minded. When I went to the Inquisitive website, I saw that you were doing some benefits for MS as well.
Absolutely, and I also have given some money to the local Lancaster County Library back in Pennsylvania, in my hometown. So yeah, I like to give back a little bit when I can.
I'm sure you do. Now, okay, so you're in LA now, and you're looking to do a quiz show, and I'm sure you will. What does your family think about all the success?
Oh, they're just pleased as punch. But at the same time, they always keep me grounded because
right.
they knew me when I was in diapers and stuff like that. So
they did.
Yeah, it's hard to get a big head with them around, which is great. And my brother actually just moved to LA too. And
oh, how wonderful!
I just realized when he was moving out that we hadn't lived in the same town since I was a senior in high school, because he went off to college and I went off to college, and so it's good to have him around too.
That's wonderful. What would you say to students who are looking to go on a quiz show such as this? How did you talk to did you train the kids for Inquisitive?
The coaches of the teams do a great job training them, so I didn't really have to do much of that, but I always like to relay the best advice my dad ever gave me.
And what is that?
And it's that you can look a lot smarter than you really are if you just notice everything and pay attention to everything. And those are words to live by. You can look like people will wonder, how did he know that? And it was usually just if I noticed something, on a piece of paper or on the wall, or I'm always
right.
looking around and noticing things, and it kind of just sticks in my head. So pay attention, stay in school, obviously.
Exactly.
And learn the stuff, and that's really the first step to it.
Yeah, well, that's true with what you're listening and watching. See, for me, it's listening to every word, because that's what leads you into something else. Your next question,
mm-hmm.
what's interesting, because if you lose focus and try to think about what you're going to ask next, it certainly isn't as much fun. Certainly isn't as much fun. Well, we're going to come back in a little bit, and I have some Jeopardy questions for you.
Ooh, all right.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So stay tuned. A little bit more with Ken Rutter. No, Brad Rutter.
I get it all the time. Don't worry about it.